Game begin.
So everyone that has been paying great attention, this is the last game we will be presenting. It's by Battlecruisers by Mecha Weka. Battlecruisers is a hand-drawn 2D side-scroller set in the 22nd century when Earth is flooded by rising sea levels and foes compete for receding spits of land. Let's watch a trailer. Hi, Chimey. Nice to see you. Glad you made it. And
Good morning.
good morning to New
Well,
Zealand.
good evening to you.
Yeah, good morning to you.
Thank you. This, you be able to see them?
Yes, we can see it.
So,
Thank you.
my name is Chimey. I'm the producer at Mecha Weka, here to talk to you not just about our game Battlecruisers, which some of you may have already played on Steam, but particularly our next major update, Battlecruisers Showdown, which we have planned a soft launch in New Zealand and South Korea July next year, and a global launch soon after with localization in 13 different languages. I was told by our designer when I joined the team that the main influences in their creation were a love of classic RTS games like Supreme Commander and also an astounding fascination with pyrotechnics. So since then, I've come to realize that Battlecruisers is a game about explosions cleverly wrapped in an exciting naval combat strategy game featuring a stubborn robot captain called Charlie surviving in a flooded post-human world. Now, ever since we got our first iteration to 88% positive reviews on Steam, the overwhelming, resounding feedback we got from our viewers was, please let me play multiplayer, please. So we decided that our first priority would be just that, seamless multiplayer with crossplay included as well. Our current release doesn't include mobile, so we're going to make sure that base is covered too, so that our players can make all the explosions and naval destruction wherever they like. Then we looked at our current list of units. Is this going to be enough to interest RTS players looking for deeper strategy? Well, updating and upgrading a system that allows you to outfit your cruiser with more detail than before, items you'll be able to loot from both single and multiplayer battles, which will have various rare bonuses. Your craft will be as customizable as you can make it. And not just your ship, you'll also find a collection of distinct captains for you to select your favorite, each with its own specific perks and playstyles. So that's what we landed on as our landmark priorities to be launched next year. And then we thought what to do after that, the future of Battlecruisers after Showdown. Well, what about a 2v2 mode where you and your co-captain's cruisers are tied together to show down another duo? And from there, obviously, we should add 3v3. It just makes sense. 6 players constantly building, attacking, and exploding. It's perfect. But what about the other side, the story of the rogue Captain Charlie exploring the flooded world? What new enemies could he face up against after the wrath he's already wrought in our current release? Well, there's giant rigs of rusted metal and gunpowder planted in the middle of the ocean, packed from the get-go with armaments that make your cruiser seem puny as you approach from afar, desperately constructing the weapons you'll need before you get into siege range. Anything bigger than that, and you might need some help, so we've decided to make sure you can even the odds in PvE. Even against an entire flotilla of ships and artillery, you and your friend will be able to take the fight straight to them, and even fortresses, towering structures that house the headquarters of the most powering warring fractions. You might need 3 ships for those. And then, well, what else in the sea could possibly be more deadly than that? Well, there are colossi, hulking titans wading through the sea towards your ship. You only have limited time before its giant fists and weaponry cleave your vessel in two, so it's incentivized to get your rockets ready quickly. It also comes with an entourage of smaller ships that harass you in an attempt to gain favor with the Leviathan, but players can probably handle that. But sometimes you need to rest and recuperate. Some are yours, so those flotillas from earlier looked nice before you blew them apart, so how about one of those? There's an asynchronous multiplayer system that you can build and outfit your base just like your cruiser. And then we had to pause the brainstorm we were having and focus on what we could provide people soon. So next year. So 1v1 multiplayer, mobile, a new loot system, great starters. But we also want to expand Charlie's story and our single player, double it, in fact, with dozens of new levels and places in the world to discover, new tidbits of information about how this decrepit wreck of a planet functions and who lives in it. A new and far larger threat to the stubborn robot captain emerges. And so that should and will be our first major update of many to come. We are a small team working with a small budget, currently looking for funding, but we have the passion and imagination to make this game regardless. So we will keep this ship sailing under the guise of a naval combat RTS for years to come, but it really is all about the explosions. So yeah, thanks for watching. And if anyone in the audience wants to check Battlecruisers out, it's available on Steam and for tablet users. And you can expect a special free DLC of several new levels and a terrifying boss battle coming early February. So thank you for my presentation.
Thank you so much. That was amazing. Now, what does our jury think?
One wonderful pitch. It was great to hear about all those mechanics. Could you tell me a little bit more about your player personas and what your expected market's going to be?
Well, we are operating on the assumption that we will have essentially three player personas. So like the casual, midcore, and hardcore gamer. So we're making sure that we have the hardcore gamers covered with multiplayer that is deep enough that they can get invested in the strategy and having different playstyles and metas. And then there's the casual where there's a single player story and also enough content there and replayability that they are able to keep going with that. And then mid-core where they have a mix of the two and enough content that they shouldn't run out in a hurry.
Wonderful, thank you.
Thank you. What's your, so you say you're looking for funding. What do you want to use the funding for as a priority?
Well, essentially, we are operating under a budget that will get us through to the next release, but essentially what a larger funding could do would be to scale that release up and essentially add some more of those things that we had planned for the future into the launch that we want to do next year, and basically expand our next release even more and add more of the things that we're excited about.
And how big is the team?
What is the...
Sorry.
How big's the team? We have 6 people currently. There's myself, producer, Peter, our founder and designer, so he's done all the art that you've seen. We have developer Dean in Cape Town. We have Will, who's the tester. We have Sam and Epi, who are doing sound effects for us. Yeah, it's a small team, but we're all very much involved in the game.
Yeah, so I'm curious about, because you have quite a big scope, quite a big, like you're aiming for everyone.
Yes.
Which is great. No, like, you know, not even the sky is the limit. That's totally fine. But what I wanted to ask is, how is then your marketing strategy on that? Or is this something that you're actually needing also, not just the finances, you mentioned finances, but do you need also help with that? Or is the funding going to be used to maybe hire a team to do exactly that? Or,
well,
you know, individuals in your team? Because this is a really marketing issue.
Yes. And so we have found a publisher in South Korea, and so they're going to help us market to that and during our soft launch. We also have specific mentors and contacts around New Zealand and other indie game studios like Dino Polo Club and a few others that are giving us advice on how to reach these mobile markets that we aren't especially familiar with yet. But essentially, we are tackling this ourselves.
Great.
you.
And sorry, I might have missed this. What's the monetization model?
The monetization model will be an in-game store where there are cosmetic items, but all the items will be available to find in the game. There will also be a dynamic updating store of basically the most popular items used in multiplayer at that time at a not expensive price, so that essentially someone can come in, and if they want to become competitive in multiplayer, they don't need to go through the single player to get all these weapons. They can essentially spend however much money and get straight into a comparable multiplayer state.
So is it free to
Yes,
play?
it is free to
Just
play.
to make clear.
Yes,
yeah, exactly.
It is free to play on mobile and tablet, and then it is purchase price on Steam.
Okay. Do you have plans, or do you have crossplay for between platforms?
Yes, crossplay is going to be one of our main focuses with the services and multiplayer engines that we're looking at. They all say that given the sort of scale of our game in terms of technical and performance, it makes it a lot easier to make cross-platforming a possibility, and at a very low latency. So we won't need to worry about someone losing because they're running maybe an iPhone that's of a few older models or something like that.
Thanks.
Yeah. Let's go
Yeah.
on, and thank you so much for your pitch, and maybe see you later.
Yeah, good luck to
Thank
you.
you so much.
Good luck.
Thanks talking to you guys.